Kamusta po mga kababayan? Ako po si Luis Pedron. Nandito po tayo sa New York City para sa ating show na Green Card with Atty. Gehi. Marami po tayong mga topics ngayon kaya kailangan mag-umpisa na tayo. Kasama po natin ngayon ang aking kaibigan na taga-Queens rin tulad ko dito sa New York City na si Jamila Rose Lineses. Jam! Kamusta?
Hello, magandang umaga, magandang hapon, magandang gabi kung saan man sulok kayo sa mundo. Ako po si Jamila Rose Lineses, kaibigan po ni Luis Pedron. Maraming salamat po dahil sa mga suporta ninyo po kaya nandito po kami.
Jam, actually every Friday natin gagawin to, 3 p.m. dito sa New York City.
Tama.
Medyo marami tayong question ngayon kaya umpisahan mo natin introduce si Atty. Gehi. Ikaw nga mag-introduce sa kanya, Jam.
Sige. Thank you. Maraming salamat, Luis, sa opportunity na i-introduce natin ang ating guest para sa ngayong araw na ito. Ang ating guest ngayon ay si Atty. Gehi. Isa po siyang abogado dito sa Amerika, sa New York. Meron po siyang 3 opisina. And this person has appeared on CNN, ABC World News, Fox News, has been featured in Forbes magazine. His articles have also appeared in the New York Times. He is an untapped and unprecedented resource for immigration law, and because of his vast knowledge and innate dedication to helping others, he has written a book for Immigration for Everyone. Gehi is an ardent advocate for justice with his previous work with the United Nations, and he also has represented high-profile Bollywood celebrities like Shah Rukh Khan and has fought and settled a case against Trump model management. And without further ado, I would like to introduce our guest, Atty. Gehi.
Firstly, good afternoon to everyone, and very special thanks to all the hosts who are organizing the show. Especially because immigration is such a burning topic in the country. So special thanks to Phil Radio, PHLB Radio, special thanks to Louis Pedron, and my very special thanks to Jamila Rose. So Jamila, as always, first we are going to bring the headlines to our wonderful Filipino viewers. So what we are going to do is we are going to educate our Filipino community about what is happening from Joe Biden from the world of immigration. So the breaking news from the world of immigration. There has been some consensus between the Republicans and the Democrats to give some relief to DACA holders. DACA are people who came in as children, commonly referred to as deferred action for childhood arrivals. So the good news is that that particular act is headed in the right direction. So what they are working on right now is these people who came to this country as children, they should be benefiting under the Biden administration. And there is bipartisan support, which means there is support from the Republicans as well as support from the Democrats. So we are going to see some good movement coming in from the Biden administration. This is something that is very important for all our viewers. Secondly, I'm going to tell our viewers that now is the time for all of you to start fixing your immigration problems. I do understand that the Trump administration had a zero tolerance policy, and there were mass deportations during the Trump administration. But now it's a time for our Filipino friends to make sure that they start getting their paperwork in order. If you're sponsoring your relative, this is a good time. If you have an order of deportation, this is the time to start meeting with your attorney. If you want to get sponsored, start talking to people to start fixing your paperwork so that you will be headed in the right direction.
Mga kababayan, pinapaalala sa atin Atty. Gehi na ngayon na natin gawin ng mga papeles. Atty. Gehi, would you mind telling them what is the importance of Because a lot of people do their paperwork by themselves, they do their research, but we have to be careful with doing our paperwork, and maybe the best way is hire a professional, a lawyer, to actually do their paperwork the right way the first time. Attorney, please tell them the importance of hiring a lawyer for this case.
So now there are two ways of looking at the problem. Number one, if you are a professional and if you're very good at what you're doing, and if you're super confident, then do it on your own. But if you have the slightest hesitation, don't apply, because you are creating a record in immigration. So once you are filing your papers, and if your papers are getting denied, then it's very difficult sometimes to clean up that record. Mm-hmm. Why? Because the immigration office already has created your file. So be very careful. There's a saying in English, it's better to be safe rather than being sorry. So end of the day, be safe rather than being sorry.
Attorney Gehi, we have so many questions that were sent to us prior to this, no? Jam, I think you have a lot of questions. Would you mind starting it out?
Yes, we do have a lot of questions, and I know that today is a special episode for spouse visas and also the benefits of getting married to a U.S. citizen. But before we proceed to the main topic, we have a variety of questions from our viewers, and I would be more than happy to tell you the question. So the first question is from Natasha. She's an international student from Ukraine, and she's asking, what happens then if her student visa expires?
All right. The very first thing for Natasha to do is to stay legal in this country. Now, she can either continue as a student or she can get to another visa status. But the problem is that if she loses her student status, the problem is that she winds up becoming out of status, which is not good for Natasha. Mm-hmm. The best thing for Natasha to do is to look for a sponsor or start working with a lawyer so that she can be headed towards a green card. Now, Jamila, the problem is when a lot of people become undocumented in this country, it is only because they don't get the right guidance. And it is critically important for them to make sure they have the right guidance. Now, in Natasha's case, what I will do? I would make sure that I continue to remain legal. And while I'm legal in this country, I would look for an employer. And if that employer can sponsor her, Natasha may qualify for a green card within 1 year. Number one. Second thing is, if she's single, keep the option of getting married. If she has a problem going back to Ukraine, we can help her with asylum, depending upon the facts and circumstances of a case. So there are legal ways, but the best thing for Natasha to do is to meet with a lawyer. And this is general legal advice. It's just based upon the question that has been presented to me by Jamila. Thank you for that question from Ukraine. Now let's talk a little bit about Ukraine. They've had political problems in Ukraine. So that's one way of looking at the case. Second is look into the marriage aspect. If Natasha cannot find a citizen, she can even get married to a green card holder. If not, if she's very highly qualified, look at self-sponsorship for a green card, if you're brilliant. That's the third way. And the fourth way is to look for an employer, but always stay legal in this country. And it's good for you, Natasha, to get some good legal advice.
Attorney, how about the employment? Does it have to be related to the course or the education she's pursuing as a student visa? Does it have to be the same field?
Now, that's a very interesting question. Now, take an example that I am studying anthropology right now. Mm-hmm. But in the past, I worked as an accountant. So, and if my initial degree was in accounting, and if I've experience as an accountant, I can be hired. So, depends upon your experience and your qualifications, but always it's a good idea for you to get your sponsorship from the field in which you are in. That's 9 out of 10. So that's how you need to pursue the matter. And there's some other good news for people who are watching our show from the Philippines, from Ukraine, and from other countries, except India and China, which are backlogged. But if you're from the Philippines, if you're from the Ukraine, or if you're from Indonesia, or if you're from Japan, if you're from Thailand, the good news for you is that the priority dates for employment-based categories are current. Take full advantage of that and apply for a green card. That's the easiest way to look at the problem. But the most difficult thing which I've seen is that people don't get the right legal help. You should communicate with people, work with them, and if you believe in yourself, God willing, you will reach your destination. I mean, destination green card.
Destination green card. That's a beautiful way to do it. And that's
why we call the show as Green Card with Gehi.
Card with Gehi is the name of our show. Attorney, are there a lot of executive orders that were announced during the Biden era? I could have sworn there were 2 or 3 that were announced lately.
Yes, 3 of them have been announced, and they are trying to kind of get rid of, this is applying a lot to the southern border, wherein people were harassed from coming into the country. They were given interviews in the foreign country. So there's a lot of work going on the southern border with Mexico. But on the whole, as far as we are concerned, we are waiting for better laws to come into the country.
Jamila, do you have more questions? May mga tanong ka pa ba para kay Attorney Gehi?
Actually, Luis, marami tayong katanungan ngayon. And in fact, the next question is coming from the Philippines. From the Philippines, Manuel has a question, and he's asking about investors visa. Can we talk more about investors visa, and will that lead to a green card?
The investors visa, you need $900,000 to get your green card. That's number one. Second thing is that you should always think, if you're in the Philippines, if you own a company, you need to think about starting a branch office in America. For example, a lot of our Filipino friends, they have companies in the Philippines. Do you know, Jamila, that these people can easily start the branch office over here if it's a decent sized company? So we've been getting inquiries from the Philippines, and these people have more than 35 people working for them. They pay their taxes. These are the people who need to start a branch office in America. Now, once if they start the branch office, once if they get the visas, their spouses can also come in. They can also get a work permit. The children can come to America. That's the second way of looking at it. Thirdly, if you are Mr. Brilliant in the Philippines, if you're that outstanding professor, if you're Mr. World Renowned in your field, like you are a famous martial artist who's been to all these top competitions in the world, you're this famous boxer, because boxing is very famous in the Philippines, and you have these international awards, you can self-sponsor yourself for a green card. Self-sponsor means you do not need a sponsor. You can directly apply for the green card.
We're so excited about that because at the International Film Festival Manhattan, we have met a lot of this award-winning filmmakers and actors, and we will tell them about that particular. And what do you call that visa, Attorney?
That's known as, and you can file it under the exceptional ability alien, and you can do that under the EB1, and under that you can qualify for a green card. Yeah.
That's so exciting. Attorney, do you mind if I ask you about the different priority dates for...
That's what I'm doing for you right now. I'm way ahead of the game for you.
Sure.
So let's see what is going on. And I'm going to give you some good news for the Philippines.
Ooh, yes, tell us about it.
The good news is in the world of employment-based immigration first. So let's take an example. Someone is here on a student visa. And the easy way to think about it is that you have a person who's studying for a master's degree in computer science. And I'm just taking that as an example. So it also applies to accountants and other professions. So this person has a master's degree. He's pursuing his master's degree. And he has work permit right now as a student. So he's working for an accounting firm. The accounting firm likes him very much.
Mm-hmm.
They tell him, I want to sponsor you for a green card. Now, step number one, this person is legal because he's on a student visa. Step number two, he has a sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
So now that sponsor can apply for his green card, and within 1.5 years, approximately, he can qualify for a green card because all the three categories, EB1, EB2, EB3, are current. The big misconception that people have from our Philippines is that you need an H-1B. The answer is no. You can bypass, you can leapfrog the H-1B program if you are a part of the STEM occupation or if you're legal in this country, then you can bypass that and directly apply for the green card.
Beautiful.
Like that.
Beautiful. I just want to remind everyone, at Attorney Gehi's Gehi and Associates, you can actually get a free consultation. That's 718-263-5999. Set up an appointment for your initial free consultation. That's 718-263-5999.
Louis, would like to say that the initial personal consultation is free. Or if people want to reach us, they can reach us at info@gehilaw.com. And we handle immigration cases from all over the United States and the world. So even if you're in the Philippines or in Saudi Arabia, we may be able to assist you.
And their website is gehilaw.com. That's GEHILAW.com. Jamila, we have more questions?
Yes, actually, we do have a question from Esperanza from Brooklyn. Esperanza from Brooklyn has a relative in the Philippines who's a nurse, and she would like to know, are nurses' visa available in the US, and is it current, and is it going to lead to a green card?
Yes, they are current. We've been helping a lot of nurses who are coming to our office, and also a lot of nurses from the Philippines are contacting us. They're finding sponsors, they're getting in touch with us. We are helping them. So she can reach us at info@gehilaw.com. So, and or she can call office, and we are there from Mondays to Sunday. So they can make an appointment and we can see them and talk further about these issues.
Attorney, a lot of Filipinos are also teachers, OT or PT, physical therapists. Are those current as well?
Yes,
and if
they
they're
are
here in
current.
America, can they apply?
Right now, they all seem to be current. So I
Wow.
don't see a problem. So that is good news. So I'm double checking. Yes, everything is good to go.
Attorney,
So what people are doing now, Louis, for example, right?
yes, tell us.
How does the process work? Because someone asked me a question actually from the Philippines. A Filipino gentleman asked me a question. So they told me that I have a sponsor and I'm legal in this country. You know what I tell them? Why don't you come with your employer to my office? And if your employer is ready, we finish it up right there. So what happens? You're killing two birds with one stone. Employer knows everything, you know everything, and if he's fond of your skill, go for it. That's how things work.
That's beautiful. Attorney, I have a question about this particular person was green card when she petitioned her above 21 single son.
Yes.
And then years and years hence, which is now, this weekend, they got a letter. But their problem is that son who's above 21 after all these years, married in between all of this. Is that petition still valid or it just goes to another category?
Under section 203 of the Immigration and Nationality Act, that entire petition is invalid. The only time it is valid is if that person who petitioned them is a citizen while the person got married. So let's take an example. I petitioned my son today. And then when I petitioned him, I was a green card holder.
Right.
But I am a citizen now. And now after I become a citizen, he gets married, then the story changes. But if I got married But this person, the petitioner was a green card holder, the whole case comes to an end.
Oh, so
So this
should
is
they?
why I tell people, be very careful when you do your paperwork on your own. This is what happens, Louis.
So they actually got a letter from the U.S. Embassy in the Philippines, so they shouldn't answer
They
that
need
letter
a
anymore.
lawyer at this stage to look into the issue. You have to be very careful of how you respond, what you respond, when you respond, where you respond.
So don't just respond. Have a legal advice first.
I would take legal advice because this is a very critical issue.
Wow, that's good to know. Jamila, I think we have more questions.
Yes, actually, we have another question here from Rowena from Saudi Arabia. Rowena is a Filipino, and
Kaifa halat? Urwana kaifa halat?
she says, Alhamdulillah, kwaisa. So she's asking because she's interested in applying for a B1, B2 tourist visa. Because of the whole pandemic that we're experiencing, how is that going to affect her application? Are they accepting applications?
Yeah, so we've been helping a lot of people from the Philippines as well as from other countries to apply for a B1 and a B2 visa. So what happens is that we have a Zoom meeting with them. We set up a Zoom meeting. We do the entire paperwork and then we send them to the consulate. That's how the process works. So they can email us at info@gehilaw.com. Then we can look at her particular situation because every situation is different. So, for example, sometimes you may be a nurse, you want to visit America, you may be a lawyer, you may be a doctor. So everyone's application for a B1, B2 is looked upon separately by the consulate. So what we do, we specifically try to prepare you so that you do, your very best. Of course, the decision is up to the consulate, but you need to put your best foot forward when you go for the interview.
Attorney, how long is the process for green card now from the time that you right before the interview, and then for the green card, is it advisable to have a lawyer during your green card interview?
Number one, it's always good to take a lawyer. Why? Because some people forget the importance of a good lawyer. There's a difference between a lawyer and a good experienced lawyer. An experienced lawyer will stand up for your rights at the interview. But a regular lawyer who doesn't know, he's just going to agree with immigration. Never do that. Rule number one. Secondly, you never know what is going to come up at an immigration interview. You never know. There are people who think, oh, well, I have a great marriage, I'm fine, you go for the interview. You get a very conservative immigration officer. You get a very difficult officer. But it's your job to convince the officer that my case is good to go. So that's where a lawyer comes in at the interview. Now, the other thing which I've seen, and I had a question from someone from the Philippines. He said that my visit visa has been denied 3 times. Doesn't matter. We've helped people wherein their visas were denied. So you should take legal help and try your visa again. Mm-hmm. So the bottom line is, if you have a lawyer, it's going to be good for you. Whether you need to take a lawyer or no, that's your personal choice.
Attorney, how about your U.S. Citizenship interview? Is it advisable also to hire a lawyer with you during that interview?
I'll tell you why.
Why?
You ask questions at the interview. And if you commit a mistake, you can have serious consequences. Let me tell you a story of a person who actually got a green card under a different alien number. And he changed his name a little bit and he got the green card. Immigration found out that he had an order of deportation under an asylum name. Guess what? You can also be handcuffed at the interview for lying. So if they find out that you have a deportation order or you have a criminal record, or if you have committed any fraud, or you have claimed to be a US citizen, if you're failing to comply with the law, people forget this word, failing to comply with the immigration law for citizenship is a ground for them to deny a citizenship application.
What happens in a U.S. Citizenship interview? What are the questions that are asked you?
They ask you a lot of questions these days.
Yeah, what questions?
One of the questions is that have you ever lied to get an immigration benefit? Have you done anything wrong in immigration ever? So that's a very open-ended question. Do you have any criminal record, including traffic tickets? The officer can ask you that. Then have you paid your taxes? And if not, why did you not pay your taxes? People take taxes very lightly. They think that it's going to be a walk in the park. The answer is no. The whole idea for a good person in this country is to pay your taxes. You did not pay your taxes, I'm going to know the reason. So, do you owe any money in back taxes? Another problem. Oh, you went for a party, you had alcohol, and after that you're telling me you want to become a citizen? Let me look at your disposition. Good moral character. You feel the good moral character depending upon the nature of the crime, depending on what you pled guilty to, you can have consequences. Either it can be granted or it can be denied. So there are many factors that are looked into. I know people who actually work off the books. And now they apply for citizenship. That's a problem if you did not disclose your income. So all those factors can be critically important when you apply for citizenship. Therefore, it's good for you to take a role.
How many years actually do you have to bring for your taxes if they're going to ask you about taxes? Is it 3 years, 5 years, 6 years?
I tell people always take your 5-year taxes.
5 years of
always
tax.
Take your 5-year taxes.
And it's so important to pay your taxes so you have things to show. And
there are times when people have missed taxes. We've been able to help them too, because it depends on how you fight the case. And that is very important. There are people that I must tell you, like, I love our Filipino community very much. Honestly, I'm a big fan of our Filipino community. For example, sometimes this happens in every community. You go to a party, and sometimes you feel like having a drink, and suddenly you get stopped by a police officer.
Oh.
Now you want to apply for your citizenship. That comes up a lot. So we've been helping people. And then another case that I had about some other community is that someone was new to this country. They got the green card. They went to the mall to buy something and they forgot to pay. So they got charged with larceny because they didn't pay. And they got arrested. That's an issue. Now, when they're going to apply for citizenship, that is going to come. Do not go alone. Take a good lawyer, because that can become a serious issue for you.
Thank you, attorney. And Jamila, I think, has more questions.
Yes, actually, we have a question. It's actually a follow-up to that question. It's from, let me see here, from Christine from the Philippines. Let's say Attorney Gehi mentioned something about how important it is that we pay our taxes to be a good citizen here in the United States. And with our main topic, we're talking about spouse visas, getting married to green card holders, getting married to US citizens. Let's say her question is, there is a situation where which happens very often in our community, where a person, let's say from the Philippines, will go to the United States as a tourist. And in the process of staying here in the United States, this person falls in love with a green card or US citizen. So they got married. And the question is, how is the tax going to be affecting her application for a green card? Because let's say this person has not been paying taxes for a long period of time, but this person is married to a green card or US citizen. Is that going to affect her application?
That is going to affect her application when she applies for a green card, number one. If she comes in on a non-immigrant visa, it is going to affect her. But there are solutions to that, but she should take legal help. That is very important. Now, I had another question that came from the Philippines. Very important question, and I think I love the question. And this question was from someone from Manila, who said, Mr. Gehi, the problem is I was sponsored by my wife for a green card. And the consulate in Manila is charging me with a fraud because I tried to, use a different name in the past. What can I do? We've handled a lot of fraud waivers. So in this case, we will have to apply for a fraud waiver, and if it is granted, you can still come to America. So having a fraud does not mean that you're permanently barred, depending upon your sponsor. And if your sponsor is your parent, if it's a US citizen spouse or a green card holder spouse, you must still be eligible for a waiver.
Attorney, talking about waivers though, is there such a thing as, I've heard of Filipinos getting barred for 10 years. They cannot apply anymore until 10 years hence because they did something here or they stayed, overstayed. I heard somewhere that that barring might be taken away with the Biden administration. Is that true, sir?
We are waiting for the law to see how it comes. We are looking at the categories in which he's going to waive it, but I don't think so. He is going to waive it for people who have a very serious criminal record. So it's going to depend on what the government wants, what categories are going to be waived. That's entirely up to the Biden administration. And let's wait and watch. But there's some other good news, which I'm going to share, is that the director of immigration is an immigrant now. His name is Mr. Mario Cas. So that is brilliant. So he has been confirmed. So if you have a man like Mr. Mario Cas, for whom I have very high regard, so he'll be thinking like an immigrant. He's going to be fair to us, and I think that is excellent for all of us. His name is Alexander Mario Cas, and that is going to be brilliant for us.
Amen to that. And attorney, all Filipinos or all different immigrants are excited about the news of the amnesty. So is that going to happen?
I'm excited about your show, Louis, more than anything else.
Is that going to happen, sir?
It's just an amazing thing with PHLB Radio. And the good news is that we are going to continue these shows. We are going to have this because you guys are so wonderful. I promise you I'll come every week on your show.
So is the amnesty going to happen, sir? We're so excited about that news. Everyone's asking about the amnesty.
As amnesty. We are going to see immigration reform. There's a difference between the word amnesty and the word immigration reform. I think there's a very strong possibility of immigration reform, but I would not call it as an amnesty.
Okay, so what should they prepare? Even before that happens, they should prepare their paperwork, their old passports. What are the documents that they should prepare?
They need to start meeting up with lawyers. And I don't know whether you know this, Louis. Before 2001, when the laws had to be passed, a lot of people took it very easily. They thought things are going to keep changing, and nothing changed. And those are the people who suffered the most. Those people should have learned their lessons that this is the time. Start meeting your lawyers because Trump is gone. Trump is gone. Trump is gone. Happy days are here again. Start meeting up with your lawyers.
So this is a new chapter in everyone's lives here in America. Jamila, I think you have more questions?
Yes, we do have a question from Josephine from Saudi Arabia, and she wants to ask, the previous question was about nurses' visas. Can we talk about teachers' visas? And Josephine, by the way, is a Filipino, and she would like to know if that would lead to a green card.
Well, the number one is that they have to pass the teacher certification exams. And with teachers, the thing is that they need to take the TOEFL exam. Then after that, they need to have the teacher certifications. They need to have an educational degree. They need to get the credential evaluations done. And after basically that, if they've complied with that, and after that they are licensed to practice in that state, then if they look for a sponsor, then they have a great possibility of getting the green card.
Attorney, some people are saying like, during the pandemic, everything slowed down. Is the processing of any visa back to normal now, or still in the pandemic state?
A lot of our Filipino friends are coming in, and you know what they're doing right now? This is the best time to sponsor your relatives. This is the best time to apply for a citizenship. This is the best time to get married to a US citizen or to a green card holder. and apply for your green card. This is the best time to apply for your abuser spouse if you've been a victim of abuse. If you have a political asylum, you need to start applying now. Don't wait for tomorrow. Because if your papers are in today, at least you have a record in immigration. That is critically important.
So everyone's asking, how do they pay? They think that lawyers, you have to pay one time or one big amount. Is there such a thing as an installment or a scheduled payment,
Yes.
so they can pay little by little?
Yeah, then we have installment plans in our firm, and we are blessed with very good people from the Filipino community. They actually pay on time, and above all, we love to help the community. Money is one thing, but helping the community is another thing. I believe in helping people, and
Right.
we are here to basically make sure that all our wonderful people from the Filipino community succeed in America and actually achieve the American dream. That is what we all are here for, Louis. We are here to work with the community. We are here to help the community. We are here to make sure that we have successful leaders from our Filipino community.
So, importante po, kumuha po kayo ng lawyer, tanungin niyo po si Attorney Gehi, sa kanila po libre ang unang-unang initial free consultation. Kasi po sa ibang mga lawyer, magbabayad po kayo ng malaki kagad. But with Attorney Gehi and Associates, you have the free consultation, libreng consultation. Mag-set po kayo ng appointment, 718-263-5999. At here in Jackson Heights, where the Filipino area is, at saka mga Indian area, maraming restaurants, meron po siyang bagong opisina sa 74-09 37th Avenue, Suite 205 on the second floor sa Jackson Heights. Attorney, I was just reiterating, in the Indian and the Filipino area, you have a new office.
Yes,
Beautiful
and
office.
Also for people from Brooklyn, we have an office in Ozone Park. So
Yeah, Ozone Park.
people coming there, and the address for that is 10405 Liberty Avenue, Ozone Park, New York. And this is very convenient also. And the number for that office is 718-577-0711. Our initial personal consultation is free. You have to come in and see us. Or
Yes.
if you're abroad, if you're in another state like New Jersey or Pennsylvania, you can email us by visiting us at gehilaw.com, www.gehilaw.com.
And it's not only...
in Jamaica, that's why I'm doing my show for today. Because we have our Filipino community from Long Island coming and seeing in the Jamaica office now. So I have to be everywhere, Louis. So that office is 17329 Jamaica Avenue, Jamaica, New York.
And also, Attorney, let's reiterate to them that it's not only immigration topics that they can consult with all of you guys. You also deal with other topics, right, Attorney?
Yes, that's a good question. Let me talk about that. One of the biggest thing which I'm doing right now for the Filipino community is for Filipino business people.
Yes.
We are helping Filipino corporations in the Philippines and people who are in other countries to set up their branch offices in America. So if we set up the branch office, through that, they may also qualify for the green card. So take an example of someone has a garment manufacturing company in the Philippines, someone has an IT company, someone has a big accounting firm, someone has a vegetable factory, like, he's a vegetable wholesaler, or someone is in the import-export of seafood, or someone is in the import-export of, of chemicals or mechanical, equipment. They can start their company in America. And through that company, they can even qualify for the green card. So that's what we do, complete corporate formation, complete structuring, and helping the company to establish the branch office in America. We provide that full service.
Attorney, are film productions and also talent agencies okay?
Now, let me talk about that. We helped a lot of models from the Philippines. We've helped a lot of boxers. We can help a lot of artists. We can help a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of nurses, a lot of occupational therapists, a lot of teachers, a lot of accountants, a lot of engineers, depending upon their expertise, depending upon their qualifications. And I tell people, do not forget the self-sponsorship of the green card. If you have a PhD and if you're Mr. Brilliant, if you're this world-renowned boxer, try to get a green card on your own, folks, because you are world-renowned. You competed at an international level. You fought against Mike Tyson. You fought against Evander Holyfield. You are Mr. Famous. You represented Philippines at an international level. You're great. You lectured at the United Nations. You got awards from the UN Secretary General in your field. Remember, it's your field of endeavor. Your field of endeavor means it can be boxing, it can be mathematics, it can be science, it can be the arts. You have a Booker Prize, you have a Nobel Prize, you have anything less than that, still consider self-sponsorship for a green card. You're a very well-known model in the world. You're a very well-known actress, Filipino actress, who worked in Hollywood with Brad Pitt. Great. Consider yourself for self-sponsorship.
Attorney, some people are asking, why are you guys so generous in your office giving free information and we're doing free education shows like this? Tell us about it.
I'm a straight shooter. One is for business reasons, but secondly, the other reason is there are people who just want to know what's happening in their life and they cannot afford a lawyer. At least they should be given that opportunity to talk to a lawyer. So at least they know their rights. And one day, when they have money, they may come back or they may use the information and move on in their life and make an informed decision. So it's a two-way traffic. One is for business, of course. And the secondly is to help our Filipino community. So there are two reasons. I would be wrong if I tell you that it's only meant to help the community. My answer is no. I believe in honesty. I believe in integrity. I believe in just basically being a straight shooter.
Attorney, you will be blessed back as you give and bless other people with this free education and free information. People will bless you back with this. Maraming salamat po. I think Jamila has more questions.
Yeah, there's one other thing which I want to talk about with someone
Attorney.
from the Filipino community, and that's a very interesting question. So this person is in the Philippines, and it's about the same-sex marriage, and he's having a problem. So he has a partner who wants to get married, but he said there's something in the Philippines that he cannot do. So I said that there's still a way out as far as your fiance is an American citizen. We can still assist him to come into the country. Now, gay marriages are legal in America because the good news is that DOMA has been eliminated. DOMA was Defense of Marriage Act, which means even now, if you're out of status in this country, consider someone from the Philippines who came in and they overstayed the visa. Even if they were married to a member of the opposite sex, but the relationship did not last because that person had a liking for a member of the opposite sex, but now she's in love with a person of the same sex, she may still qualify for a green card. So same-sex marriages are legal. You can get married to a member of the same sex. Doesn't matter where you live in America. You can still qualify for a green card.
Is there a difference with the paperwork for same-sex or heterosexual?
The interviews can be very exhaustive. They can ask you a lot of questions. So, the amount of work which is needed in the preparations, in my case, that's my opinion, is a lot more than a regular paperwork. That's my personal opinion. But, your people can differ with me on that.
Jam, do you have more questions?
Salamat, Luis, kasi marami tayong questions ngayon para kay attorney. And the question is actually related to business investors visa. There is a question from Abdullah from Saudi Arabia, and Abdullah is a businessman. He deals with maritime. And the situation with Abdullah is that what happened is he went for the interview more than 3 times for a tourist visa. But before that, he applied for a business visa, but they didn't approve. They didn't deny his visa. They just hang him up in the air saying it's in processing. And years pass by, it's still the same status. And my question is like, how often these cases happen, and is there any way for it to be approved?
Yes, they happen a lot, number one. So what Abdullah can do, he can reach out and at info@gehilaw.com, because what a lot of people from other states and people from outside this country are doing, they're sending us email at info@gehilaw.com. And if they are serious, what we are doing, we are either talking to them on WhatsApp, or we are also arranging Zoom meetings for companies to make sure that they get settled in the United States. So Mr. Abdullah can reach us at info@gehilaw.com, send us a message, and we'll be happy to assist him. And also, one other good news is that people have told us, Jamila, for the fabulous job that PHLB Radio is doing, Lewis is doing, and you are doing, they want us to announce a topic for next week. So before we end the show, I'll be happy to give them a topic for next week. And this has been requested by one of our viewers who's actually from the Philippines. And I'll let you know what we're going to talk about next week.
Thank you, Attorney. Yes, you'll tell us about next week. Attorney, how about a question about biometrics and not missing out on the importance of having that appointment? And what is biometrics, by the way?
Biometrics commonly means fingerprinting. And the purpose of the fingerprinting is to make sure what kind of records you have in this country, whether you have a criminal record, whether you're a threat to the United States, whether you're a danger. Those are the questions. And they want to make sure that you have a clean record. That's what biometrics is. Secondly, if you miss your biometrics appointment, please see a lawyer immediately, because there's a way for you to fix it. Otherwise, your whole case will be denied.
So it's very important to keep that biometrics appointment. Do not miss it. Right. Attorney, with the interviews, again, going back to interviews of your green card or US visa, US citizenship interview, how long is it from when you, like for instance, for the US citizenship interview, how long is it from when you applied for your citizenship to when you're going to get that interview?
8 to 10 months for sure. And a lot of people have been coming to our office and we've been helping them. Some people have, not paid the taxes. Some of them basically had some criminal records. Some of them are nervous. They wanted to take a lawyer. So it's around 8 months to 9 months, approximately.
Oh, that's the approximate even before the pandemic? That's the average?
Yeah, that's what we are going to see. The staffing is going to get better. This is my approximation. It can take longer, but that's the minimum time.
And then after that, when do they do this?
Sometimes within a month from there, or generally within 60 days.
Oh, very soon, very soon. And of course, what are the privileges of becoming a US citizen? I know that's very important.
You can vote in this country, you can get federal jobs, you can sponsor your relatives, and above all, I believe that, the good thing is that, sponsoring relatives is a big thing. You can also be entitled to a lot of, benefits like healthcare, social security, disability in future if you're an American citizen. I think it's fantastic to become an American citizen.
And better jobs, right? Good jobs, like work for the government.
And plus you can apply for a fiancé visa.
We have one more. I think, Jam, we have time for one more before we give the final words. Jam, do you have any more questions?
Yes, actually, I'm looking at our Facebook comments. We do have 2 questions, and there's another question here. So that's a total of 3 questions. So I'm just going to read it really quick. The question on Facebook is from Emma Marcos, and it says here, a relative on a spouse visa in Canada just have her marriage annulled after being filed 8 years ago. Can the fiancé, who is a US citizen, file for a petition for her? Does she need to go back to the Philippines? How long does the petition usually take? That is the question.
All right, so that's a bit of a complicated case. So the thing is that, yes, the good news is that there's a possibility for her to immigrate to America even if the case was annulled in Canada. So she will definitely need a lawyer. And because of the complications involved, she should come in and see us Monday through Sunday, and I'll be happy to help her. And the number is 718-263-599.
And Jam, I hope you don't mind if I read this. Another question here on our Facebook live question from Anna Marie Fernandez. Hello, she says. My father was a naturalized U.S. citizen. I was 14 years old that time. I was living in the Philippines. Can I benefit from him bringing us to the U.S.? Is the question from Anna Marie.
Does she have a green card right now, or does she have any citizenship?
No, she's still in the Philippines.
All right, the father should have applied for her. And, if a father applied, then she's good to go. Then she has to wait until the priority date becomes current. Or the father can still apply for a green card.
And the other question from Christine is there such a thing as a free telephone free consultation? Can they do that?
The best way is to send us an email, not on the phone. They can email us, info@gehilaw.com. And if it's in detail, then we can talk further on those cases.
Info@gehilaw.com
or gehilaw.com. We can go there. You can easily email us. We kept it very easy for people to email us.
Oh, attorney, Anna Marie said that the father died already. The U.S. citizen father died already. Can they still avail of that?
As I said, I'll have to do some more research, whether she was an automatic citizen, if the father lived with her, and if the father was a citizen before 18th birthday, she may still have a possibility.
Right. I guess we should advise her to email you, info@gehilaw.com. If she's in the Philippines, you can set up a free Zoom consultation. Jam, any parting words before we ask attorney to give his parting words?
Actually, I want to ask this question. This is coming from Ricardo from the Philippines, and this is somewhat related to the question that was asked earlier by Christine. And it's about, let's say a tourist visa holder came to the United States from the Philippines, and in the process, she met someone, she fell in love, she got married, and so she got married to a US citizen or green card holder. In the event that the marriage goes down the drain, what happens when the US citizen holder or US citizen or green card holder withdraws the petition? What will happen to the spouse who was on a tourist visa that already overstayed?
So first thing is that complicates the case. Number one, she should not be scared. Number two, she should seek legal help immediately. She may have options. She may even be able to change her status. Or if she was a victim of abuse, she can still qualify for a green card as an abusive spouse. So it all depends. I think she should immediately seek legal help. And she may still have hope. She should not give up hope. She should stand up for her rights. She should fight for her rights. She should defend her rights. That's what she needs to do. Because in our law firm, that's why we do divorces from New York. We do family law cases. We do bankruptcies. Then we do immigration. Then we do personal injury cases. And we also help our Filipino community under the labor laws, especially because there are some employers who do not pay wages to people who are undocumented, and we fight for the rights.
Jamila, I actually want to encourage our friends, ang ating mga kababayan, magtanong kay Attorney Gehi. In fact, magpakonsulta po kayo, Jam, di ba?
Yes.
Magpakonsulta siya kasi I've personally have seen Attorney Gehi in action sa kanyang opisina at saka nakakatuwa siya, mabait na bait, hindi nakakatakot. Tanong lang kayo ng tanong, diretsahan po siyang sumagot sa kanya. Right, Jam?
Yes, tapos sa panahon ngayon, karamihan kasi ng mga abogado ngayon is humihingi sila ng mga fee for the consultation.
Kaagad, no?
Attorney Gehi, he will give you a detailed, comprehensive solution sa mga worries nyo. And I can definitely say that he's a very trusted, reliable lawyer. And I've seen his work. My family members, my friends, I've introduced to him, and they're very satisfied with his service and his team. Kaya pumunta na po kayo mga kababayan. Wag na po kayo mag-isip kung kanino pupunta. Just immediately, don't even think. Just go straight to Gehi. and Associates, attorneys at law. Their website is gehilaw.com, and they have 3 offices, whichever is closest to you. Pumunta na po kayo.
Opo. And of course, syempre kami mga taga Queens, gusto namin pumunta kayo sa Jackson Heights office nila, 74-09. Bale, ano no? Anong avenue yun? In Jackson Heights, second floor. At saka 718-263-5999. Attorney, can we give you the final words?
Yes.
Encourage them to actually go to your offices, because free consultation it's very important to have your lawyer. Very important.
All right. So few things. Prior results do not guarantee future outcome. The instant program is an attorney advertisement. Any advice given on the show is general in nature and does not apply to any particular facts or circumstances until an attorney-client agreement is reached between the parties. That's very important for everyone to know. And besides that, we handle immigration cases from all over the United States and the world. So even if you're in the Philippines, and if you are interested in US immigration, and if you are serious, and if you want to retain an attorney, we'll be happy to help you. But if you're doing things on your own, then you should not see a lawyer. You should call immigration directly for your answers. And above all, we have many qualified lawyers working in the firm. Even if I'm not in the office, we have other good lawyers who are trained by us, who are fantastic at what they do. You can see Poonam Minhas, like in the Jackson Heights office, or you can see me in the Jamaica office, or you can also see my other people who work for me, my other staff members in the Ozone Park office. And to make life easy for all our Filipino friends who are not available on the weekdays, we see them on Saturdays and Sundays. So you can, if you're busy working, come in and see us. Start working on your immigration cases and try to get your green card. And keep watching this program, Green Card with Gehi, with Louis Padron, Jamila, and PHLB Radio every week on Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Maraming salamat po. Namaste. Thank you very much, Attorney Gehi. And of course, on behalf of Jamila Rose Lineses, Attorney Gehi, in Jackson Heights, 718-263-5999, and our director for PHLV, Director Johan, maraming salamat po sa pagtangkilik nyo sa Green Card with Gehi. Magkita-kita po tayo ulit Friday, 3 p.m. Maraming salamat po, Jam. Thank you, Attorney Gehi.
Thank you, John.
Thank you very much.